Hi, today I'm going to build a computer or start building a computer. So this is the first video in probably 2 or 3 videos to follow as well on building a system. Hi, I'm Andrea. Welcome to my channel. Right, well I'm going to actually start first of all with preparing the tower case. So this is the Fractal Design pop air case, and this has got quite a few complicated little bits on it. The more sophisticated, the larger cases, they've got more in them, and so we need to actually just prepare a few things before we fit any other components. And got a little bent pin already there as well, so I don't know how that happened. Anyway, so that's okay, I've sorted that. And right, so basically I'm going to actually get this ready, so put in the optical drive and also fit the power supply unit as well. I may even fit hard drives on here as well, and then I'm going to do another video where I'm going to prepare the motherboard, fit the processor, the heatsink, and also the memory, the RAM in there, and then marry up that with the motherboard, and of course connect all the connections, of course, and then we'll get Windows installed. We're going to put Windows 10 on this system. The person who wants this computer, they want Windows 10 on there. It will run Windows 11 as well, and so the computer will involve a Ryzen 5 7600X processor and a new motherboard, which you've seen in the unboxing videos earlier. Right, so let's get on with it. So first of all, I've got to undo I'm going to undo through these little cable ties on here, which is so you can see those. So I'm going to remove those on here first of all, because we need to free up the cables. And so actually, can I actually do this so you can actually see this a little bit better? There's a couple of little straps here as well as Velcro sort of straps as well, which are holding in the actual cables in here, but I'll undo the cable ties first of all, because this will allow me to move the actual cables around a little bit. Then we can always add them later. So again, always obviously I've taken the side panels off already in preparation, and so probably later on might do a kind of like a, as you remember, Blue Peter, might do a little Blue Peter at the end, and here's one I've done earlier. And so these, again, here we've got the RGB controllers or cables, which make the fans glow different colours. And so we're going to connect those. We've also got the power connectors for the fans here as well. So we're going to kind of link those in a chain. So again, holding the case and trying to do this at the same time. Maybe I should actually just lay it down flat here so we can just be easier to work on. And I know it's like for the sake of the video, we tried to show you what to do. And so, yeah, these cables are not, I should have done this earlier. And but yes, anyway, so I'll probably maybe skip a few little bits as well, sort of thing, so you're not see. This one is the RGB connector, which is different to the actual fan power connector, which eventually will go to the motherboard. And so this can actually go on here, on this, goes on there, go on there, should do, and it can only go one way round. That's it, that's on there. You're frightened to push them too far, and there's another kind of connector here, pin connector here, which again I'll connect that one up to the other cables here. which will go. There's another connector there, and you can actually sort of daisy chain them together. Probably helps if I actually undo the Velcro a little bit, and that gives me sort of freer movement here. And there we are. We've got another fan here, and I'll connect up the RGB connector on here. Let's go on there. Again, you don't like to push them too much because you don't want to bend the pins. I know the pins, you can bend them back, sort of, but you don't want to snap the pins on here. That's it, that goes in there like that. And there's another one here. I think there is, yes, there is another one here. So we'll just like to just pull that out, and we actually, again, sort of, we can, once we know where all the fans go, we can tidy things up later and use cable ties and things. Again, you kind of get this sort of spaghetti type of thing. There's another cable tie around here. The good thing about it, they're on this side of the case and the motherboard's on the other side, so all the kind of unsightly cables are on the side that you're not going to see. So again, put that one in here, and right, so that goes in there. Right, so of course they look a little bit unsightly to start with, and we're going to actually remove these cables out of the way. These are your power cables for your fans. Again, you could daisy chain them, or you could connect them to your motherboard on here. So again, that's your power connectors there for your fans, and so that's your, this one here is the power switch for the motherboard. And here we are, we've got another one here which we will connect. This is the rear fan, and again, got to undo the cable ties. Again, it would have helped if I did this earlier, and, but of course, sort of taking you through the build, because those people who are looking at buying one of these cases might want to know what all the cables are and what all the fuss is about. And again, we've got, this is out the way here, so again we can actually route the cable along here, and let's find the end of this. So we've got one here again, so that goes into there, that's right, and this one goes here. It's like 3 pins, and they go into the socket there, and of course you've got another one, you can daisy chain another one, of course. So these we're going to actually, we'll probably route out of the way later. We'll just put it behind these cables here, but for now we're just going to put those in there, because obviously you don't really want to tie the cables up until you're sure where everything goes, and make sure that you've got everything connected, and then you can then decide where you're going to actually put your cables, and how you're going to do your cable management. So again, we've got on here, this is the USB 3 connector, and we'll just put that one under the Velcro here for the moment. And so the actual, we'll keep this one loose there because we want to connect to the motherboard at some stage. And we've also got now the power connectors for your fans could go, you could potentially, you could daisy chain them, or you could actually connect them to your motherboard. Of course, directly. So I'm not going to daisy chain those at the moment, because I'm going to decide when I put the motherboard in what I'm going to actually do, whether I'm going to take the power from one connector, or maybe 2, or maybe even 3 connectors. It kind of splits the power sort of thing, so you've not got it all coming off one actual power connector, and so that so you don't really overload your kind of pins on, you know, your power on your motherboard. What I'm actually going to do next is actually going to, it doesn't matter about that though, I'm actually going to remove one of these bays here, because we've got at the front here, we've got pulled the panel off, which is just here, which is magnetic, and this here is like a little tray. You can actually put little things in there. So, well, no, it's not a not a cigarette ashtray. To those who are wondering, oh, I wonder. No, it's and of course that fits in the bottom, or you can fit it in the top here as well. You put your optical drive in here. So I'll probably put the optical drive in the top one, so it's just a little bit raised up. So when they open the CD, it's not coming out. The CD drive is not sort of coming out on the bottom here, so it just makes it that little bit easier, gives that little bit more room, just in case where the case is positioned. Always like to have it nearer the top. And so what we're going to actually do is we're going to remove the top tray here for the hard drive. So that's taken the screw out, and just that just slides out, so that's good. So I'm not going to put that back in just yet, because I know it's going to go up here, but maybe we'll put the hard drive in this one possibly, so, or maybe, no, actually maybe put the hard drive in the bottom one. Yes, I will put that actually up here, because I think I'm going to put the hard drive in the bottom. I usually like to, I suppose, so the case is not wobbling about so much, I usually like to put the hard drives closer to the bottom of the case. It's just me, maybe. So what I'm going to do is, this just slots in. There it is. There's a little hole just here for the actual drive, so I'm going to put that in. Again, you can put, this is for 3.5-inch drives, but you can put 2.5-inch drives again with brackets. You've got two 2.5-inch drives you can put on the top here, or on the back, and I've got, so I'm going to put this back in here. Yeah, I'm not going to screw it in too tightly just yet, just sort of finger tight is okay. Again, you don't want to be over tightening these screws, but you don't want them to fall out, of course, as well. They've got little kind of a crosshair, so you can put a little, sort of Phillips screwdriver or crosshead screwdriver in there, and you can sort of use that to tighten up and loosen, of course, on there. Just gives that a bit of extra security. But again, don't over tighten things, because you'll cross thread things, and there's only so much you can do tightness wise on these. So this actual drive, this bay here, I'm going to take out at the bottom, and so the video, I'm hoping it's not going to be too long, but I'll split it up into sections here. So I'm going to take this bay out, and I'm going to, again, if like the friend who I'm doing, or the person I'm doing this for, doesn't like where the drives are, well, tough. No, actually, we can move them about anyway. We can move them where we are. Anyway, so that's more or less sort of prepared. We'll tidy up these cables as we go through the build, and we'll connect up the fans, of course. The front fans, well, they're nice. They've got nice lights on them and things. It's not actually essential to have them on, or the rear fan as such. It depends how hot the PC gets, of course. If it's a very low-end PC, you might not want the fans on. But the fans, I imagine these would run pretty quiet anyway, so it's always a good idea to have the airflow going through here, and keeps it just that bit cool. Of course, if you live in a hot climate, of course, you definitely want the fans on. In the UK, possibly in the summer, we had our hottest day in July last year, a couple of really hot days of the year, and everybody was panicking, oh, it's too hot. But of course, on that day, you definitely, you probably want the water cooling or ice cooling or something. Don't throw an ice bucket of water over the computer though, not a good idea. Right, so anyway, right, we've got these connected here, and so what I'm actually going to do is basically fit, well, I've got the power supply and the optical drive. I'm going to fit the optical drive first. And so this is, we've got this one from Overclockers. It's kind of, well, it's actually it was on their own make, but this is by Asus or Asus, depending how you like to pronounce it. And it's a DVD writer, and there's E-green on it as well. So it says M-Disk, and so it supports all the formats that you want. So this drive is actually going to go into here. Now I think that goes in here. I'm just testing the fit on here at the moment. I think, according to the manual, I'll have to take the tray out here. And again, while I'm showing you this, it's always a bit more awkward to take out. So I think this actually came out somehow. I don't want to actually force this out. There's a little kind of tray in here. You can put the screws in one side, but I always like to have the screws in both sides of the drive just to give it that bit more rigidness on there, so when it's burning a disk, it's not going to actually cause a problem as much. And I think I did see in the manual, I'll just check on here, and does this actually, don't know if this actually pulls out. Yes, it can't actually get to it. Well, there's screws along here. You could take this off. I think, I'm sure this actually came away, but I don't want to actually pull it away and then find that, explain to the person who's having the computer that I broke the case. So I'll just go away a minute and just consult the, there it is, it pulls out. It just pull out, I think. So there it is. Well, I've broken it now. So yeah, that just kind of pulls out from the bottom, and then it sort of hinges from the top anyway. So I'll just put that down there safely. It's always good to have a soft sort of mat, it's like a kind of slightly rubbery backed there to protect things so you don't scratch things. If you're working on a hard surface, again, it might always be a good idea to have a mat down there to protect so you don't scratch the case. And so anyway, so we've got, right, so now we've got on the front here, I know it's upside down, but it doesn't matter. Yes, we've got actually some screws here, which this then, I think, pulls out. So yeah, there's 4 screws to hold this in place, and so we'll actually undo those. And so again, I've got C on here, and in the tray there, put them in the ashtray. And yes, interestingly, Apple, I think when Steve Jobs was still around, he produced a law, if you like, by Apple, that they would refuse to work on somebody's computer who smoked, because of the fact that all the grime and stuff came in sort of on there, you know, and when you're working on a computer from a smoker, it was it's not very nice sort of thing for the non-smokers. But so anyway, right, this now pulls out, nicely comes out here. So remember, this is actually upside down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it the right way around, just so I actually get it right. So that way, keep that right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit this onto here, and again, this will actually line up with the screws on here with the holes. That's it. Now I just want to check that I've actually got this. Again, I think, check you've got it actually right in there, and yes, yeah, that's roughly about like that. You can always readjust it, but it's good to get it on there. Yeah. And suspect if the person this computer's for is watching this video, they're probably cringing. Oh my god, what are you doing to my case? There it is. So that's about, I think, how we want it. So it's lined up level with there. So it's sort of, anyway, I think. So if it's not, we'll just have to redo it a little bit more on there. And let's pull that out. Again, you don't want to, you don't want to force these things. You don't want to force the issue, as they say. So that is, yes. I see. It lines up with the, you can see on there, it sort of lines up these little holes here. So that seems to be about where this lines up. So what I'm going to do is I need to actually find the right screws on here. So again, I'm going to actually put these in my little tray here. Again, I should have done all these little things earlier, really. And but still, you can see what you've got to do all this as well. And again, these are the screws we need. And there's nothing that end there isn't to hold it in. So I'm going to actually put those in on here. I'll just do them kind of not fully tight to start with, and yeah, just checking on the camera there. Yes, I've got the actual sound on. I had a horrible feeling that the sound wasn't on then, and so yeah, so this is so yes, I should be now then. Well, this actually is a screw too big to tighten up. Let's just do, yeah, that's it. So again, don't over tighten the screws. They just need to be tight enough to hold it in place, and of course tight enough to not come out, but not over tight. Over tightening is not good at all, because if you've got to replace the drive, it's not going to be easy to get out. You're going to have to drill the holes out or something. So we're going to put this in here, and then we're going to actually put these screws back in here. Again, I've actually kept those separate from these ones on here, and again, probably can't see it there, but there's 4 screws on here. And they go again, don't over tighten them to start with, just put them in, and then once they're in place, it's lined up, you can actually tighten them up. Right, so do that. Do a little, just nick it a little bit, don't sort of do it over tight on there. I keep saying that, don't I? But yes, so you can see on here, the fans there, you can replace these with other fans, or you can put in, if you don't like these ones, you can put in other makes fans, of course. They're just, I think these are 120 fans, I think, that are in here, and again, you can put a water cooler in behind here and keep these fans and have the fans on the water cooler, so you've got double airflows coming through if you really wanted to. So I'm actually going to put this back on here just to make sure that we've got it lined up and it fits okay on here. So again, I'll just actually tip that up here. So that's trapped any cables? Right, so does that actually fit in there? Yes, it does, and it's actually quite flat, that is, so that's pretty flush, and it's in quite sort of rigidly on there, so the 4 screws hold it in place. I mean, I did one time see a computer that had a DVD drive fitted by a professional company, sort of big retail chain, and it was like they just used one screw to hold in the drive. Not very good, really, was it? Because that means it's going to vibrate, wobble about, and but yeah, I mean, think, oh, one screw that'll do. It's just, you think, wow, that is just really bad. You know, oh, if there's 4 screws, put in 4 screws. Some people might even like to put in 8 screws as well if they've got the thing, but that keeps it rigid, because when the drive is being read from, or when you're reading and writing to the drive, again, I'll just check that lines up. You want it to be very stable. So yes, so that's quite neat there. And then of course, obviously this is going to go on the front here, of course. Just go that way around. Yeah, that goes on there. Of course, you can just pull that off when you want to use a drive. You might just keep that off all the time, of course, if you're using the drive quite a lot. But that makes it look quite neat, doesn't it? But I'll keep that off there for now. And so yes, so that's sort of, yeah, it's in there quite neatly. So it lines up, and that's about as flush as I'm going to get it. Right, so I'll keep that in there. Right, so next thing, we're going to actually fit the power supply. Right, okay. Alright, so this is going to be fitting of the power supply unit, the Seagate G12, is it? Sounds like one of these political conferences, doesn't it? That they have the G whatever summit. So yeah, so we're actually going to do, I'll get it out, add it up, and lots of spaghetti on here. So yes, we're going to fit, so you saw this in an unboxing video earlier. Well, actually, we want to fit this, don't we, as well? Actually, yes, I'll fit the power supply unit, then we'll fit this cable, which is the USB-C cable. And so you think what order you're going to do things in. Of course, you can do them in any order you like, really. Thank you all for watching today's video. I hope you've really enjoyed it. And please remember to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to get notifications for future videos.